The idea of prayer is an interesting idea because I think people misunderstand what prayer is. Most people pray because they're asking God to do something for them. And I don't, and I've learned that that kind of prayer does nothing. Because most of what we find ourselves dealing with is our situations of our own making. So for us to ask God to bail us out because we didn't want to take responsibility for ourselves is ridiculous. So most of us, please God, please fix the situation for me or take away, this pain. I get it. I understand the idea. But again, a lot of times, I mean, if I have an uncle who spent all of his years, he smoked every day, almost a pack of cigarettes a day. He drank like a 6-pack every day. He wasn't a healthy person, didn't eat very well, and he died of a lot of conditions that were affecting his body. Had he been praying to God to heal him and to fix him during that period, like, are you serious? You spent your entire life affirming who you are, and you want, in a few short moments, you want God to bail you out of it just because you suddenly realize what you've done to yourself? No. The lesson is, look what you've done to yourself. Why did you do this to yourself? That's what you need to be focused on, because this now, what you're going through, this experience, is there's a reason it is happening, and you put yourself in a situation. Ask yourself why. Why did you do this to yourself? And it turns out he was suffering from depression and he just didn't want to live anymore. So he was ready to get out of here and did not deal with the realities of life. But at the same time, sometimes on the way to death, you have to feel physical pain and suffer. So of course you don't want to go through that. Who wants to go through that? But you did this to yourself. So learn from this experience because there's something in it for you. And so sometimes, when I think of people praying, I'm like, we put a bunch of guns out on the street, y'all. We ain't checking who's buying these guns. And some of these people are crazy. I don't think that's a good idea. I would not take a knife and put it in my mother's hands when she was having a schizophrenic episode, when she's talking about killing people. Why the hell would anyone think that's a good idea? And so, again, what we do to ourselves, we're responsible for. We have to fix it. We can't ask for something to just magically happen and change. It doesn't work that way. We are accountable to ourselves as individuals and as a collective. We must pay the price as a collective and individually to sustain the status quo. And we must also pay the price for change. And paying the price for change also means becoming uncomfortable. Because when we must change as a society, as people, we have to get uncomfortable. In other words, if you are trying to move from one house to the other because one house is falling apart, you're going to have to pack shit up. You're going to have to rent, a U-Haul. You're going to have to move boxes, go through some physical discomfort. It's a discomfortable, it's an uncomfortable period. And so that's where we are. We think that in order for us to save the planet, for us to save civilization, for us to save this or that, we can just maintain the status quo and there's going to be no period of discomfort. Everything can be exactly the same and we can feel very comfortable in all that we do. Sorry, but you're living in a false reality. It's not real. It's not going to work that way. It's never worked that way. So you're not going to get your cake and eat it too. You need to make changes. And sometimes that requires discomfort, being uncomfortable. And that's the reality of the situation. But when I pray, I don't pray for God to change the situation anymore. I don't ask God to change anything. I ask God to give me the courage to get through it. That's what I pray for. And when I talk to God, God is just a larger version of us, a bigger version of us. So if I want something to change, I intend for it to change. That's intention, because I know the power we all possess as individuals. So if I want something to change, I don't ask God first. I ask myself, Fernie, what can we do to change this? And then I intend to change it. I take action and I follow through as best as I can. Prayer is the last option. If this is something I have no control over and it is something that I'm in my most desperate moment, I might ask God for help, but I'm not going to ask God to fix what I can fix myself. That is just offensive, in my opinion, to God. It's disrespectful to God. Like, how dare you? You were given life. You were given all of these components, all of these things. You made a complete mess of it. And then you want to go ask God to fix it for you because you refuse to fix it yourself? Fuck that. You deal with the shit. You deal with the consequences. Lay in your bed. You made it. Lay in your bed. That is what you need to learn. Lay in your bed and learn the lessons you need to learn. Then you won't repeat this again. And in another lifetime, you won't do it again. So no, I don't ask God for fixing. I ask God for the courage to get through it and for an opportunity to change it. So I ask for the opportunity to change it or for the courage to get through it, because there are some things I'm not going to be able to avoid no matter how hard I try. So, okay, get me through this, get me through this, get me through this. And that's how I pray. So that's my chosen form of prayer. Now, I do ask for guidance or for knowledge, and that's also a form of prayer, but that comes to me directly in my head, or when I'm walking on my walks, or when I'm having, I vape a little and then I'm allowing myself to kind of let my mind wander. The answers come. So I get the answers that I want, but I don't really, that's more of like an asking conversation with God type thing. That isn't really me praying that I'd be knowing everything or seeing everything.